Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I hope you're all doing well. Please, as always, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course, hit that notification bell. We're here with everyone's favourite Italian, Mr. Andrea Russo. We're going to be catching up on all things Leeds because I've not had a chance to speak to him in a while. We'll talk about Leeds' start. We'll talk about Dan James, the issues at right wing. Maybe touch on Bournemouth, and then we've got Spurs this weekend as well, who drew last night against Bodo Glimt and have some injury concerns. So this might be the perfect time to play Spurs. Before we do that, though, I am just going to quickly remind folks of football prizes. Reason being, their prize ends this Friday, and it is still just 39 pence a ticket. I will show you the there's Andrea pointing at you. He's saying, "We need you," like that American poster. We need you.
Uncle Sam,
yeah, that's the one, Uncle Sam. So you can win a Viduka signed shirt display, plus loads more Leeds United prizes. There's £1,000 up for grabs, hospitality tickets for the Villa and West Ham game. It's only 39p. You've got to be in it to win it, so make sure you check it out. So big up to Football Prizes. Link is in the description. That's now done. Yes, I am late, mate. I was having a shower and having a bit of tidying up. Forgive me, all right? But let's find out first and foremost how everyone's favourite Italian stallion is, Mr. Andrea Russo. How are you, bro?
Good, man. Good to catch up because,
Goodman son? You are Goodman son? Yeah?
Goodman son, yeah. Can't be Goodman son. What a player, by the way.
Oh, what a buy.
Yeah. I think we'll touch on him probably later on, but we weren't able to speak on the last final words, because I missed both of them, Wolves and Bournemouth. But good to catch up, and we're doing well, I think. So it's always good when results and form are on your side for once. Finally,
so, I know you can't see. I know you can't see, but we're currently in 12th, above Brentford and Manchester United.
Yeah, so but I can see that Man United are 14. That I can see.
Yeah. We like that bit. What have you made to the start, Andrea? It's been a very positive start, really. Apart from Fulham and Bournemouth, we could have maybe had more points, but all in all, is it 6 games in now? Happy with the start?
Absolutely, man. I think we're overperforming, looking at the quality of the squad, like we did in the first season under Bielsa, and we need to take into consideration that it's even an harder, more difficult league compared to the league a few years ago, and I think Falke has also made some adjustments after the first run of games, and they are paying off. Unfortunately, not with the 3 points on Saturday. I think we deserve the full result. We missed out, unfortunately, on 2 points because of a single individual mistake by the defense, but we were clearly the better team. But the run of games that you mentioned, at the start of the season, I think apart from the Arsenal game, if I look at all the other games, Fulham, we deserve more for sure. We didn't deserve to lose. Newcastle, I think the draw was the right result, but going toe-to-toe with Newcastle, very impressive, especially after Arsenal, after what happened at Arsenal. And even the game against Everton and the one against Bournemouth, I think we were always going toe-to-toe, and we're the better team in many occasions in those games. So it's really positive to see where we're at the minute, considering the amounts of injuries that we have. The fact that we didn't strengthen the squad, create more squad depth towards the final stages of the window. So right now, considering the situation we were in after the window closed and where we are right now, absolutely, it's completely positive. And I think very few people expected us to start in this way. And also Sunderland and also Burnley, of course, they lost. But all the 3 newly promoted sides have started well this season, and it's impressive, honestly, because it sees that there is a pattern that they are starting to change their system to adapt more in the Premier League compared to what it was last season. Because I always like to say we're not the chased anymore, but we are the chasers now. We need to adapt to different teams, and I think we did after the first 3 games, especially after Newcastle. I think the adjustments started to pay off, because at Fulham we lost because of an own goal, but we didn't deserve to lose. So absolutely positive, man. Absolutely positive.
I think you make a good point. I think I did believe that this would be the case. I know I told you also kind of vibe, but I went on a lot of panel shows and a lot of them were talking about how the Premier League, the gap's too big. You're going to go straight back down. But like you've already established, I've been really impressed with how Leeds and all the newly promoted sides. And listen, I like Sunderland because I live in the area. I have a lot of friends who support them. I wouldn't, if I'm being honest, Andrea, I'd like us all to stay up because it'd be two fingers up to everyone who said we'd go straight down. I do think Burnley have it toughest, if I'm being honest, because I just think the level of squad and scoring goals maybe isn't as good as, say, Sunderland. I mean, Sunderland would be always difficult to beat. They brought some great signings.
They're going to get Europe, man. They're going to get Europe from me. No, I'm serious. They're going to get Europe.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah. They're going to get Europe, trust me.
Who's Sunderland?
I've seen Sunderland. I think they're gonna get Europe. Conference League. But I think they have the squad depth to mount a Europe challenge. Honestly, to be fair, the experience, Xhaka, all those kind of players.
Xhaka's been amazing for them.
Yeah,
he's been amazing.
Remember that when we talk about Xhaka, before the season start, some people 100%. Said no, he's coming like De Bruyne or Modric in Serie A, but when a player's comes to the Premier League, he's at his best. He's won the league 2 years ago with Bayer Leverkusen, and he's proving that he's still a top player so far at the start of the season.
Like Xhaka could play for a side way higher up the division and still do bits. You know what I mean? He could.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's that good, and I think he's perfect for the Sunderland fan base, coming in as captain. All these different factors. I think, he's been a great addition for them. But talking about our additions, just. What have you made to the signings? I mean, Longstaff's really come into his own lately. Stack has really good games, then average games, but he still looks really good. Goodmanson, you've mentioned, I think he's been amazing. And I do think as well, a little hot tip to the centre-back partnership that have kept Biol on the bench, because I think Strauch and Rodon as a Premier League partnership, I've not been concerned, apart from the Arsenal game, but that goes for the whole squad in that game, if we're being honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Hats off to them, honestly, because apart from the Arsenal game, like you mentioned, they were very solid. Strauch lost the duel in that specific occasion, against Bournemouth. The other and the ball goes to Krupi then. But apart from that, throughout the world games, I think they were very solid. And also we've seen Rodon score from the set piece, carry the ball out when we are high pressed, So they've been very solid, and so far, I think what they offer is massive also in the build-up with this new setup that Falk has imagined, and implemented in the last couple of games, especially. So Biol stays on the bench, right, and rightly so, because they're playing well and they deserve to retain their places. And of course, apart from Biol not playing and Bornau, of course, but Bornau was signed to be a reserve, to create more squad depth at the back. Goodmanson in the Everton game at the start, he was more conservative, more defensive minded in that game. It was his first game in English football, of course. He misplaced many passes in that game. Rarely went for a run, tried to go overlap or run with the ball like he does now. He gave me Christensen vibes in that game. But after that, he has completely adapted so far to the English game. And the fact that Okafor and Aronson stays more central, it allows him also to run more and be more offensive. And I think that's a very good adjustment by the manager, because we've seen Goodmanson interacting with one-twos with Okafor, going with the overlap, but also going inside like we've seen Firpo in the last couple of seasons do, and it's really, really impressive. And also, I mentioned Okafor. I think he's still in an learning process, I think
he goes through games where I don't see him at all, Andrea, you know?
Yeah, I think there's the disclaimer about the fact that he needs to adjust to this position, and playing him so wide didn't pay off at the start. And now that he is more central, that for me he's a very good second striker. Basically, he starts as a left winger, but eventually when we are in possession, he goes more towards central areas, and that's what the second striker does, because Aronson is more defensive minded. In this case, he's more pressing when we are not with the ball and cover more to help in the midfield on the right hand side, Aronson. So it's a different shape. It's not a traditional 4-3-3 when we are in possession, and that allows Okafor to be more attacking minded in the middle, and use his body very well. But yeah, I feel that too, in a certain sense, like what you said. And I think he's not still at his best 100% in terms of fitness. He still needs time to get back to his best shape, in that sense. And the other signings, I would like to see Mecha more, because I think DCL is not like Okafor 100% fitness ready to play the 90 minutes. So I would like that change to happen earlier in certain games, because Mecha can also be vital when you are up front to keep the ball up. But Calvert-Lewin, finally, we've seen that his football mind is great. Of course, he's great. I don't know. Hopefully, he stays injury-free. But the way he reads when he needs to make the run in behind and attack the space in behind to get in the right position to be able to do a header, to catch the ball, like the ball Aronson with the back heel, given to him. The finishes are still not there, because I think it's also a fitness and confidence.
He could have had a hat trick, He could have.
He could have had. But if he keeps, playing and going into the right spots, eventually with his fitness coming back, I think he will be able to transform those misses into finishes, into goals.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's just like you say, it's match sharpness, isn't it? Knowing where to be.
Yeah,
and,
English better than me, so that's the right term. Match sharpness. I was looking for.
Only just, mate. I will say that.
Nah, man, don't be like that.
He's looking like a good buy though now, isn't he? On a free, Calvert-Lewin, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, because what we miss, I think, and what we miss with Pirot eventually, is a player double-dimensional, capable of using his body and try to find space going towards the ball to free space for Okafor, or when James and Gnonto are playing on that side, because Aronson doesn't really does that. He's more like moving all around the final third, rarely goes into the box in terms of running in behind. When he goes into the box is because we have the ball on the left-hand side and he wants to crowd the box, in a certain sense. The moment we had James and Gnonto, Calvert-Lewin going towards the ball, he frees the space for Okafor and James, let's say James, for example, or Gnonto. They can run in behind and attack the space that the centre-back covering Calvert-Lewin has left open, But also the fact that after he does that, he turns around and attacks the space. And it's also very good in reading to the space between the centre-backs with the long balls, So absolutely, he's a good signing on a free. Hopefully, again, he stays injury-free, because he started very well. But we've seen that there's a pattern in recent season that when he gets injured, he struggles after that with form. In terms of course, he's not very young again. He's a veteran, so hopefully he stays injury-free. Absolutely. But yeah, I would have liked, me, I would like more signings up front, 100%. Apart from the right winger and creative midfielder. Also,
let's talk about the right wing. Let's talk about the right wing, because we're finding some issues there now. James could be out for a few weeks, maybe a month and a half. Gnonto's also having problems currently with his calf. So we've only really got Aronson as a recognised right winger. And look, as good as he is defensively, we know in the forward areas he's lacking big time.
Yeah, he lacks a bit, because I think he's not suited in terms of positioning to a 4-3-3, and it's not his fault, because there's players that are tailored for a certain formation and others that are tailored for other formation. And I think Aronson is more tailored when you play with like a player behind two strikers, honestly. Like playing as a link up between the strikers and the other midfielders. And usually in that formation, the other midfielders are more defensive minded, and you have a player with pace, capable of running with the ball. And when you bypass the opposition midfield with a pass, you have that kind of player that goes towards the ball and turns around and has the space to run. So I don't think it's down to him. It's down to the formation, to be fair, but it's not his fault. This formation is good for Leeds. It is the type of player he is, that doesn't help him in this case. But I think, to be fair, and that's not a disservice to the others, but that's also down to him. To be fair, I think out of the three wingers that we've seen playing on the right, James, Nyonto, and Aronson, the best one so far has been Aronson.
It has, yeah.
Absolutely, because of course people look at the right winger. Me too. I always said in the Premier League, I want a right winger capable of constantly challenging his marker with the 1v1s, capable of creating an offensive threat. Like I go straight at the marker, turn inside, have a shot, when I have the opportunity. Aronson is not that kind of player. He's a player that has the ball, looks for a player, pass, runs. He's like a link-up player, and he's doing that pretty well. Of course, people say he's not clinical. It's not what Fak is asking for him, to be fair. He's asking him to be a link-up so far. We've seen two very good balls to Calvert-Lewin against Bournemouth. Of course, he's not going to be the most efficient and fun player to watch in that position. I don't think he's a right winger either, but so far the way we play up, we're looking for more nearer to Calvert-Lewin and Aronson staying further back. I think it works. The problem is that how long will it work? Because the Premier League, we know that you have a good start, but it's a very long and tiring league, and you play against the top players in the world, and you can have a good run on games. And that good run on games can turn into like 6-7 games winless, and then it's completely changed the perspective, But yeah, the problem is that James and Nyonto, when they played before they got injured, they rarely show something. They rarely showed something, to be fair, and it's not a surprise, to be fair, because Dan James, I love the player absolutely. The best way for him to play is try to stay wide and have the 1v1 we switch the side with the long ball to the other side. Nyonto, same, he can play more central, but rarely at any shots, both of them, and rarely won any duels. And that's the problem, honestly, because it sees that you have a gap there, and now you're playing an adapted player, Aronson. But that shows that in January, regardless of the position we will be in, you need to find one and bring one. Yeah. Absolutely.
We do, mate. I agree with you completely. It's not something we can rest on, regardless of what the club would like to do. I just think it's something they must do for me in January, is definitely supplement the manager with some extra additions. I think that's a certain for me anyway. Obviously, you touched on it earlier, Bournemouth. Were you surprised? I was quite surprised. I was a bit uncertain how the game was going to go. They're a very good side. I think they'd faced 21 shots in total in the last couple of games, and we had 19 on them. They're a very good side. They've got a great manager. I was quite surprised at how well we've adjusted and we're able to be better than them for large parts. I was impressed away at Fulham, the way that we defended, I actually, is the league as bad as is the league as scary as we thought it was, or is it still too early days? Do we need to just chill and wait for a few more games?
I think it's still too early to call, like they say when they hold the elections in the United States, when they need to call the state for one or the other party. Too early to call. I think it's too early to call so far, but I think it's the league has grown in terms of level, intensity, quality. If I look at when we finished ninth under Bielsa, the first season, it's a completely different league to the current one. The current one is much better than that one. It's way harder, way harder because the money investments have skyrocketed. Basically every club has the opportunity to spend and grow. And there's different schools of thinking, and of philosophies on how you stay in the league. Like we've seen Forest going on a spending spree, and other clubs trying to do more smarter, spending less, in terms of, let's retain the players, get players in the Championship that can grow into the Premier League if we get promoted, and then bring in a couple of players. There's different school of thinkings. But regarding Bournemouth, honestly, I think it was down to us because they had drawn against Newcastle. They had won against Brighton. They had won at Tottenham. And at Liverpool, at Anfield, I saw that first game because it was the opener of the season. I think they held the ground that day against Liverpool. They lost 4-2, but
Yeah, they were
they had a
good.
very good
They were
side.
good.
Absolutely. And Iraola, like you said, is a very good manager. They are very well set up. I think we caught them by surprise at times, especially with the ball possession. They had their chances, maybe not creating proper chances, but they had the opportunities to create them, like with Evan Edison going in behind Rodon and Strauch a couple of times, and they were very good in like sending him wider compared to central areas. But in the second half, after we scored with the equalizer in the first half, and then in the second half, I think we were the better team. I was very surprised on how well we were keeping the ball, and that ball circulation and the rhythm led to the goal by Longstaff. To be fair, we of course managed the ball pretty well. It was just down to a single mistake. Unfortunately, that single mistake cost us 2 points because we deserved 100% to win. But with that mentality and setup, I think eventually the results will come, and that will be honestly a miracle. And like one of those old Greek tales from the past. If we stay up with this squad, to be fair, because again, I think in terms of quality up front, we are in the relegation area, to be fair, because all the other on paper, all the other sides have better strikers than ours. Because if you look at them, the money they spend on strikers, they have more. A manager has more opportunities on those other sides to pick his strikers, But right now, what is keeping us going is the setup, honestly. So well done to the players and Faki, honestly. We'll see how long we hold with this setup, but so far so good, to be fair, honestly.
Yeah.
We deserve even more points than the one we got,
100%. The big shining thing, and you touched on it obviously with regards to the system. It's been the midfield three, I think, Andrea. Just how strong that has been. I mean, I've been so impressed with every single part of it. Obviously, you've got Tanaka as well, who will hopefully find his way back in and will at least attempt to get back into the side. But that is one area of the pitch where I have no concerns about. I don't know about you,
Absolutely.
but I'm pretty happy with the centre back partnership the midfield partnership that we have created.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm the same as you. I think Ampadu has been massive in that game on Saturday. Absolutely commanding, a proper leader. Longstaff it's not a surprise, he's a seasoned veteran in this league. We know what we can expect for him. Stack is still growing into the side. It's still we always need to consider that it is a new role for him. We didn't sign a creative midfielder in the market, so we're trying to adapt Stack in certain games, to be more advanced. In certain games, he can do that because when we are controlling the ball, he has the opportunity to move more. When we are high press, unfortunately, there are more chances that he may disappear more throughout the game, to be fair. Because, of course, he's not, a pacey, fast, creative midfielder. He's a good player with vision if he gets into the right spots, but don't expect a box-to-box creator like Elliot Anderson, for example, with Nottingham Forest. We meet that kind of player in midfield. Tanaka can grow into that eventually, but there's still it will require a lot of time. But yeah, I'm pretty at ease, with the midfield. I think it's along with the fullbacks, it's the secret of our good start,
Yeah.
Do
you want to see more from Bogle? Do you think that's because Aronson's in the right wing and maybe he's wary of pushing up because Aronson maybe not keep the ball as much as say some of the others? I don't know, because we haven't seen him get forward as much.
Yeah, I think he needs to be fair. There's space for it. There's absolutely space because Aronson tends to go more central. And when you go more central, Bogle has the opportunity to do what Gudmundsson does more, on the other side. And what he basically Bogle did too in the championship in the last two seasons, overlap, running inside. We know that technically in terms of pace too, he's very skilled. And we were talking, me and Lockie, after the Wolves game, there's not much opportunities, to be fair. There's not much picks for Tuchel at the right back spot so far, because of course Reece James, Trent is injured. Ben White, apparently there's still that rift going on with the England squad, in terms of I don't know if it's him or the staff, doesn't want to get called up, or they don't want to call him up, But apart from him, there's Livramento, of course. If he keeps playing, of course, this game was different because he came out of a knock, after that knock on his ankle after the Wolves game. But looking at the first at the start of the season, he certainly has a chance, if he keeps growing and going and make himself seen offensively to at least get a call up and a look for Tuchel, honestly, to be fair.
I think as well, Livramento's going to be out now for a few weeks. He's had a bad injury after the Arsenal game. So yeah, there may be an option there. You're right, and I'd love nothing more than to see someone in this setup.
One of our own, yeah.
Yeah, one of our own, like we saw when Calvin got called up, etc. And I think Ben White probably should have been called up when he was at Leeds as well, to be honest. But hey ho, but yeah, it's been good. Obviously Spurs at the weekend, mate. I'm actually quite confident. Call me mad, but I know they're a good side. They're a very good defensive side as well now under Frank. Although last few weeks it hasn't gone great for them. They drew 1-1 with Wolves. They were beaten by Bournemouth, and obviously they drew last night in the Champions League and probably should have lost that game with the amount of chances Bodo Glimt had. So how are you feeling ahead of that? They've got a lot of injuries, mate. There's a lot of players out. Richarlison will be leading the line. I don't think Romero didn't travel last night, so I don't know if he'll be fit for the weekend. They went with a pretty strong 11 as well, so I'm quietly confident. Lunchtime kickoff, Elland Road. I think we can get something, mate.
I think absolutely we can. Absolutely, because they are teams still trying to find their feet in terms of mentality, to be fair.
Yeah.
New manager, new players trying to settle in. And like you said, I was looking, apart from Romero, I was looking at the number of players that have injured. There's I have the list here, Dragozin, Madison, Kulusevski, Solanke, there's quite a few players that were massive in recent times for them. And honestly, at Bodo, it is difficult, but environmentally too, because the conditions there, when you travel to Norway, near the Arctic Pole, it will be difficult for everyone to go there and get the result, to be fair. And I know that you have a lot of Norwegian viewers too, so I think they can confirm that. But I think the next 3 games are massive for us, especially because we face Tottenham in the state they are now, struggling to get results recently. Then you have Burnley away and West Ham at home. One of my closest friends, he went on a trip to London recently. I went to see actually West Ham against Spurs. So he told me that West Ham, they look horrible. Yeah. Of course, now they have hired Nuno, and I think that will change, because they still have good players. Yeah. But yeah, I think if you have problems, it's looking at West Ham, it's deep internally into the club, because in recent times they had many. After Moyes went, especially, Moyes, Lopetegui, Potter. Nobody could fix that. It's similar to Spurs in a certain way. Remember what Mourinho said, or Conte said when they went, Spurs are seen in that state. They won thanks to Ange, I think, last season in the Europa League. But yeah, the problems are still there. If you have problems in terms of mentality, structurally, as an organization, you can change managers a lot, but eventually you need to change some habits of the club, to be fair, in terms of the squad, and you need leaders. I think Tottenham are lacking a proper leader on the pitch too so far.
I think when Romero plays, they're
different.
Yeah. But like say, can sometimes let that spill over into red cards, silly challenges, etc. So yeah,
he's Argentinian, man.
Yeah, exactly.
They are very heated.
South Americans in general. But Daniel 90 New Hero, who's a Spurs fan who watches regularly, big up, mate. He says we've got Madison out, Dragosin, Basuma, Solanke, Kolo Muani, and Kulusevski. And yeah, of course, they would all get in our side. And Romero was rested yesterday. Okay, so he'll probably be fit for the weekend. But yeah, I could see us getting a result. Again, I could see a little bit like with Bournemouth. we probably will surprise them in the early exchanges in the game. And we just have to hope that we can be clinical, because I think, what frustrated me against Bournemouth was because we hadn't been clinical, they then go 1-up after, free kick. And really, we could have been in front at that point. So I hope we can get that.
Yeah.
We will see.
They are conceding a lot of goals, man, too.
Yes, they are. They've gone from being very defensive sound to now conceding a lot of goals. You're right. You are right. We do have some comments, mate, that I wanted to touch on. Rob says, Joe, Andrea, how surprised are you by Farke's flexibility so far? He's kept many of his principles, but we're playing very differently from last season. We were told he couldn't change. Yeah, I think he's quietened a lot of doubters in the opening 6 games for sure. And I do like how, yes, we've gone more defensive, I guess you could argue, with a 3-man midfield than we did in the Championship. But we're still trying to possess the football, Andrea. We're still trying to get into the right areas. We're not, like when I watched Burnley against Liverpool and everyone were going, oh, they're going to get a result. They literally had no attacks though, right? They just camped behind the ball. At least with Leeds United, we are having a go. Even against Arsenal, when we got slapped up 5-0, we could have gone 1-0 up in that game. You know what I mean? So we will have a go against opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I always found odd, the fact that after all he's achieved with Leeds in the last 2 seasons, especially last season, he made his mistakes, of course, in terms of team selection at times. The season before, when we lost in the playoff final. But yeah, I think both season, maybe last season we were really complete, but the season before, I think we had gaps, despite the fact that we are Rotter, Somerville, top players, Archie. But yeah, I think we still had gaps, because in the end, our midfield was Gruev and Kamara for the majority of the season. And then you had Ampadu at centre-back. So we still need to consider that. The difference right now, and now you will know why I mentioned 2023, 2024, is that Farke is working and adapting to the player that he has at his disposal. He's trying to play them. He's trying to play the squad, the team, in a shape that suits the player that he has and their best skills, the best characteristics that he has. The only thing that he cannot affect, unfortunately, is the right wing, because he doesn't have an out-and-out attacker, there. He's playing now Okafor, but you see that he's trying to play more centrally. Of course, he starts wide, but they're going central to free the space for Gudmundsson. Also, the other thing that he cannot fix, but he's trying to do, is Stack. Stack plays as a 6 in Germany. He's trying to adapt him.
Yeah.
Because eventually we will probably see it at times in certain games. I think Tanaka and Ampadu and Longstaff, because I think Tanaka and Longstaff can do that more in a certain sense, because Stack, in terms of defensive presence, is very good. But if he gets further higher, like we see at Arsenal, he struggles, in terms of, out of the 3 of them, he's the one that will struggle the most to track back in a certain sense. So the reason I mentioned 2 seasons ago, is the fact that you can affect the players that you have when you have squad depth. And he's trying to play the team according to that, to the best traits that we have right now as a team, as a squad. The fact that he cannot affect is if some players get injured. In certain positions, we don't have the proper backups. Then again, he will need to adapt, because now we had James Nyonto injured, and he had to play Aronson in a different way that compared to James and Nyonto. They're not playing that position in the very same way, of course. So there's an adjustment there. If Calvert-Lewin gets injured, Almeida gets injured, or one of them, if you have Pirot to play Pirot, in that case, Pirot plays in a very different way compared to Calvert-Lewin and Mecha, because he's not a physical player. Then he will need to adapt even more, And on the left too, there's basically Harrison, very different player compared to Okafor. So again, he will need to adapt. Then you have, of course, Justin and Bogle. I think we're pretty fine there. Defense will pretty fine. The midfield will pretty fine. The other problem is that if Gudmundsson gets injured, Byram, of course, in the Premier League, needs to be more defensive minded. He cannot do what Gudmundsson does in a consistent way, because he's not that physical player like Gudmundsson, and that will need to change. But yeah, I think there's also another thing, regarding Farke, is that Of course, I would have liked, like I mentioned before, another right winger, especially if we let Ramazani out on loan, another striker, like a midfielder. But guess what? Valencia lost yesterday. He played 4 minutes. Ramazani, he's not playing much. Joseph, he had a chance after Murici got, I don't remember if injured or I think he was suspended. Murici, he had a chance to start, but still is struggling to find his speed there. Schmidt, I think he's not playing consistently into at Werder, so in the end it turns out that those players in top leagues with a level of intensity lower compared to the Premier League are still struggling to find consistency. I hope all the 3 of them do well, but so far they're not,
we need them to do well.
Absolutely, we need them to do well for profit. But the thing is, they left, I think, because in their mind they wanted to be playing more. Of course, they wanted to play more. But so far, if you compare the minutes they played, probably they are the same minutes they would have played if they would have stayed at Leeds. In a certain sense. Yeah.
I agree. Like people were saying just yesterday, we shouldn't have let Ramazani go, etc. And I hear it, but at the same time, my head goes, but him being here now still wouldn't have seen him get minutes because it's an issue we have on the right-hand side, and I don't think Farke liked to play him there as much. Do you know what I mean? He preferred him on the left, and it is what it is. Like they're gone now. We have to deal with that. And like you say, I think the minutes have slowly dwindled for some, and it doesn't surprise me, I guess. But I understand why people would straight away be like, we need to get these players back, and this is why we're struggling, etc. It is what it is. But we moved, don't we? We do have some more comments I wanted to get. Righteous One says Sunderland will be bottom half by New Year. Hot take. Do you agree with that, mate? Obviously, AFCON's going to play a part. AFCON's going to play a part for them.
AFCON too, but looking at how they play, to be fair, I think they honestly have a chance to get around top 7th, 8th place. I think they have. If not this season, if they stay up, they will certainly follow the Forest school of thinking. There was the Aristoteles school of thinking back in Greece. Now there's the Forest Marinakis school of thinking. Of spending even more. And we've seen, of course, Forest getting Europe after strengthening year after year, and I think Sunderland will do the same. Eventually, they will follow that very copy print.
Blueprint.
Yeah, exactly. That one, the blue one.
Yeah. Where do you see Leeds then? If you see them being where they are, where do you see us?
I think still early to call because again, I'm very worried about if any injuries occur, and the fact that eventually the results will come if we keep playing this way. But Fulham, we lost 1 point. At least 2 points because at least we deserved the draw. I think we were better than them for the majority of the game, but then towards the end of the game, they were better than us. They had the chance with Lukic too before, and the Kevin one, before. So we lost points there because of their own goal. Bournemouth, we deserved the 3 points. We lost 2 points. We're playing well, but eventually, I don't want to be here in 2 weeks, like saying, we played very well, but we lost 2 points, unfortunately, because of a single mistake. We didn't deserve to lose, or we didn't deserve to draw. In terms of we deserve to win more than draw, or we didn't deserve to lose in a certain sense. I want to be here in 2 weeks, like saying, we played very well, and eventually we got the results we wanted to get. Because sometimes you cannot win. Okay, at least you get a point, and every point you get away, to be fair, is a good point for me in the Premier League. At home, draws like Bournemouth, they are 2 points lost, unfortunately, because of a single mistakes, and that shows that we are a nearly promoted side in that regard. Because you cannot switch the tension off even in the final stage, and unfortunately in that particular action we did, and we were punished straight away, and that's Premier League to you, baby, like this they will say in the USA. That's Premier League to you. Good reminder for us.
100%.
Good reminder for us.
100%. It is the Premier League. You've got to take
mid-table, I think. though.
Yeah, I said 14th highest. I would take that. 14th. I'd be happy with that.
I'd be happy at least like 17. Out
Yeah,
of no,
100%.
17 out of the
100%.
bottom three. Absolutely, we would be happy with that because this
Yeah.
is a season where we need to stay up and we need to plan for next season if we stay up, of
Yeah.
course. But I'm sure they will have already started to do that. To be fair,
Definitely,
in case.
100%. Daniel says, Joe, I'm very tribalistic when it comes to Spurs. He came for me once I called them shit, but it'll calm down. He says, Joe, I hope people aren't just basing Tottenham on last night. We ain't lost away from home this season. I hear you, bro. Tottenham are a good side, but Leeds United haven't lost at home since September of last year. Now, of course, we did play the Championship, but even still, there is a sense of within work, within any walk of life, if you continuously are winning in a certain scenario, even when you go behind, you still have that belief that, you know what, we're going to get something here. When we've shown that, we played Newcastle, we played Everton, we played Bournemouth just the other day. We've shown we're a strong side at home, and like I said, the last time we tasted defeat was over a year ago now, and that was against Burnley, and that was due to an error. Like, really, Solomon lost the ball early days, and we should have probably got more from that game because, Joseph has a chance. So I get you haven't lost away from home this season, but Leeds United haven't been beat for a whole calendar year at Elland Road. So,
and there's also another thing, man. They are facing all these away Man City, West Ham. You know that the London Stadium is very different to Upton Park. Brighton and Bodo Glimt, they still haven't faced a proper hostile crowd like Elland Road, and they really play a part because the team at home,
100%.
Leeds, at Elland Road looks absolutely different because it looks like we're playing with 12 men. We are a completely different side at home compared to away because look at the first half against Everton. It's like a running chariot. It's like the charge of the Rohirrims in the Lord of the Rings.
Do you know, even when we've been behind in games in the Championship, I look at that Leicester game where they were winning 1-0 and then we score 2 late goals. How many times did that happen in Farke's tenure where we've scored late goals in games to make sure that we come out at the end? So I think Elland Road will play a massive part. And I don't know about you, Andrea, but I mean this when I say I'm not scared of any team when they come to Elland Road. I wouldn't like to go to Anfield. I wouldn't like to go to, City. But if they come to our place, I go, do you know what? We can get something. If we're on our A game, we can get something at home.
Absolutely. And it's really, funny in a certain sense that a lot of people actually call Elland Road church, because it's one of the most hostile environments for an opposition team, for a visiting team. It's absolutely, and that's how it should be, because it's about being hostile. It's about being. That's why they call the place Dirty Leeds. And remember Alex Ferguson saying that one of the toughest place he went. With Man United, one of the the more hostile crowds
more
in Europe.
Than Liverpool, he used to say,
exactly.
He said there was a genuine hatred, hatred.
Exactly.
So I agree with you, man. It's not something you can prepare for, I don't think.
Yeah, if you don't have the mentality and you don't have a leader on the pitch, you get soaked by Elland Road, honestly. If I'm a opposition player, there's many good sides, that play well in certain environments. Every team coming to Elland Road, we need to be in beast mode mentally, because Elland Road, when you step into the pitch just for pitch inspection, you already have 4 or 5 fans shouting at you, and that's welcome to Leeds, welcome to Elland Road. Then when you get into the pitch, for the warm-up and then for the game, it's a completely, and that's also a very good difference, Elland Road is the only ground in England when you have the most, the hottest part of the ground, the south stand in this case, next to the away fans. And the fact that there's constant exchange of chants, it gets also the rest of the ground going. And the fact, find me another ground where you have like the majority of the ground is standing for the majority of the game. I don't think you can find one.
No, you don't.
It's a different level.
100%. They don't allow it. They don't like it anyway in certain grounds. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's Yeah, Archie Gray returns, not being involved in the league games this season. Do you think I mean, they've got injury issues. They played Tuesday night. Do you think maybe Thomas Frank might use him? I don't know. Maybe Danny can tell us in the chat as well.
I honestly think he might, to be fair. I think he might. And I hope he gets... I don't see any difference.
He'll get a good
honestly.
reception, won't
I
he?
think he will get a good reception. Honestly, there was. I remember when he left. There was some people like trying to put the finger on him, the blame on him, like saying, "Oh, yeah, you're talking about Leeds," but then he left at the first chance.
Yeah.
It's also the people need to understand that it's also down to PSR and the fact that some clubs, if you don't go up, you need to sell certain players, and that offer 40 million. It was just good at the time. Too good at the time for Leeds to refuse, considering the financial situation we were in after the sacrifices that we had to take with the relegation clauses and all that financial mess that was left behind by the former owners. And the 49ers need to face it. And in their first transfer window, we still need to remember that in that specific season, because I think he was also crippled in a certain sense, affected, not crippled, affected by that the struggles of the transfer window back by those clauses left behind by the former owners. But yeah, eventually we needed to sell some players. Archie is a Leeds lad. His brother plays for the club, and I didn't like the fact that there were rumors hanging around, in a certain sense. How do you say that? Lurking around, in a certain sense.
Yeah, perfect.
About Eddie Gray, like say, Eddie Gray is angry and is leaving the club. I don't like when people, put those rumors out, because seriously, do you think that the Gray family will ever have a problem with Leeds? No, 100%. They are Leeds. They play Leeds. They're even better than the Maldinis. Maldinis, they have 3 generations. Cesare, Paolo, and then now Daniel. They all play for AC Milan. Then you have Eddie, Frank, Andy, Ari, and Archie and Ari. There's 5 of them. There's 5 of them.
It's mad when you think about it.
They are Leeds. They are. Yeah. If you ask me, what can you define? The mentality and the history of Leeds United, the Gray family. The Gray family. They've lived it all. Every year of Leeds, they have. They have.
It's mad. It's mad. It is mad. Could we see Harry on the bench with Archie? Potentially, we could well see that. Do you know what? Here's a good point mentioned as well, which I mentioned the other day. Spence coming back. I think he will really want to prove a point, because he's that type of character, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I can imagine him, maybe if he was to score, I think he'd have some settles to score with our manager, I think, because there clearly was a breakdown between them two. We know that.
Do you think you will do an Adebayor on him?
Yeah, maybe, bro. He might give it. I think he might do some of this or go like this. We know what he's like, because if you remember when he got promoted, he put the cigar and for Neil Warnock, didn't he? So there might be a little bit of that,
Yeah,
which will anger me. I know how I am as a fan. If he does that, I'll be like, "Fuck you, Spence. Fuck you."
No, but I think people need to separate, because there's been some revisionism, regarding Spence in recent times after he started to do well at Spurs. I think, the performances on the pitch,
he wasn't great at Leeds, man. He wasn't
great, but yeah, absolutely, he wasn't great on the pitch. But recently, his performances have very improved, because he got really into it, I suppose. He got called out by England, but I think there's a line between the performances on the pitch and the performances, the way, the attitude off the pitch. And from what we know, it was extensively reported in the press. He missed a visit to a charity hospital, I think, event was by Leeds. Arrived late at the ground. If he really cared about Leeds, he would have been fully committed to that. Those were negative signs affecting also other players in the squad with his attitude. So I don't care. He can even go on to win the World Cup, but I honestly hope for you that he will play a part, in England winning the World Cup. And I always happy when a player does well on the pitch, but that doesn't scrub off the other bad attitude of the Leeds. So it wasn't the fault of the club. It wasn't the fault of the manager. If a player doesn't want to listen, 100%. So he may even go to be one of the best right backs in the world, but that doesn't change. Looking at his lead experience, that it was only down to him and his attitude that he didn't adapt to the place. Yeah, that doesn't 100%. Change for me. separate
Ryan
from the
says
pitch performances.
Spence and Nketiah are two. No, Nketiah is not the one, bro.
No.
No, he's not what everyone thought he was going to be. He barely plays at Palace, mate. I think you're just getting gassed because he scored the winner against Liverpool the other day. Kershaw makes a good point. What did you think of the Longstaff interview telling the players to believe? I love that, you know. Did you hear about that where he got them in the huddle and he turned around and said, listen, you belong at this level. You can compete with these players, man. And we need players like that on the football pitch. I think that's huge that he said that to them, you know?
Absolutely, and it's definitely better than the post-match speech of the Watford manager that Watford put on their social media. I don't know if you watched that, but
yeah,
little bit cringe, you know, in a certain sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, we, like I said before, Longstaff is a seasoned veteran in this league. He's played at his boyhood club for many seasons in bad times when Mike Ashley, it's Mike.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
guy. Was there in bad times and after the takeover by the Saudis, you know. So he's seen it all, you know, from struggling to stay up to playing in the Premier League, of course. The investment that the Saudis brought, it made all the difference in the world for them. Absolutely, 100%. There's no secret into that. They didn't turn into a Champions League club overnight because of, they've like a miracle like Leicester winning the Premier League, you know. That's the only reason they did that. But yeah, I think, you know, Longstaff, even when he was very young, I remember when his brother played a couple of games too with Newcastle in that season. I think he was 29.
Matty? Is it Matty? I think Matty.
Yeah. I think he's playing in the MLS right now.
Yeah,
I may be wrong. Yeah, I didn't follow up with the promise that he showed back then. But you could already see, you know, the attitude of Longstaff on the pitch, the way how vocal he was on the pitch, even as a youngster, you know. And it can only grow, you know, with you throughout your career. So we brought in a player that is playing in the Champions League recently, finished in the top 5 recently, and play with like Bruno Guimaraes, Dan Burn. Those are proper, you know, vocal players, and he has seen, you know, in a certain sense, how leaders act. And he knows what needs to be done, you know, in the Premier League. He knows what Leeds want from him. And it's not just performances on the pitch. You need to bring your best gear, your knowledge, your experience in the Premier League, not only on the pitch, but also around the ground, you know, because you've been out of our players, basically, if you look at them, the players with the more season played, you know, in the Premier League, in the world squad, basically, apart from Calvert-Lewin, of course. But apart from them, Darlow has played some season in the Premier League, but Longstaff has been the most continuous one in that sense, and it will need to be the one knowing how to deal in certain situation and what needs to be said and what needs to be and what the focus needs to be throughout the week in certain periods of the season. You know, when things are going well and when things are going not so well. Yeah,
that's what you need. You're right, man. We need characters like him, because when the fixtures turn, I think from November we played like the top 6 like back to back, and that's when we really need these players to dig in and you know, we need the fan base at that point as well to stay strong, because we could go through a period where we don't win games, and it is what it is. Big up to Ryan, the official Zoom. He says, "Cause why not?" Thank you for the super chat as well, mate. But yeah, look, all in all, mate, we're positive, aren't we? Even to go as far as when Darlow's played, he's also been good, right? So there's a lot for us to shout home about. And if we get a positive result on Saturday, another international break, hopefully James and Nonto get right. And then we have, you know, go on. What were you going to say?
Don't let me think about the international break, man.
Why? Talk to me. What's going on?
Why? Because we're gonna miss the World Cup 100%. Honestly,
are you gonna miss it?
Yeah, no. There's a good possibility, you know, because now we are.
You know what as well? Andrea always sends shots at England and our record in the group chats. He's like, "It's about time you won something," all this sort of stuff. So when I hear this, it's good. But this is the thing: you missed the World Cup before, you come back, you win the Euros in England. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
This is what we do, yeah. But you know, I agree with what you said, and I just want to touch also briefly on Darlow. He keeps his place as long as he doesn't make a mistake, because he's been better than Perry, to be fair.
Yeah.
He's been a silent leader for the club.
Do you think
for the
the
team,
manager will do that though? I don't think he will. I think he'll put Perry back in because he's his number one. We paid a lot of money for him.
I know, but I've been more at ease with Darlow, to be fair, throughout the games than Perry so far. Of course, it's still too early because we've seen very little of Perry, but from what I've seen, I think Darlow was better, and he keeps his plays as long as he doesn't make a significant mistake, to be fair. I know it's harsh, on Perry, to be fair.
Yeah.
But Darlow doesn't deserve to lose his spot so far. And yeah, on the World Cup, to be fair, that I constantly send dicks, at England, but that's how it should be. It's friendly rivalry. But basically, Italy have won every time they face England. But yeah, we won't say that. Apart from the Women's Euro, yeah.
We've started to see some decent performances against Tuchel now, though. It's taken a while, but we've started to see some decent performances, which is a good sign. It's a good sign.
I would love to see him, try to do what he did with Conte, with Gattuso. Good luck to him if he tries to do that.
Go on.
The handshake. Remember the handshake with Conte?
Oh man, it was so good, wasn't it? The back and forth.
Yeah,
he's Gattuso.
Try to do that with
Gattuso
now. Yeah, he is. Remember when he went straight at? Yeah, they sacked Spalletti, But remember when Gattuso Tottenham? We were talking about Tottenham, so good link. AC Milan Tottenham, when he went shirtless, face to face with Joe Jordan, the Shark, former Leeds player, by the way. Yeah, unbelievable, that one.
Yeah, he's mad guy is Gattuso, a player that I really enjoyed though because of that. You know what I mean? Like, I like that man. He was a mad guy.
Yeah, would have been a good Leeds player, by the way.
100%, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt. We've done 57 minutes. There's been a few people in the chat. Big up to everyone for joining us. The women's show is on tonight as well. The women's show's on at 7. After they did so well last week when I was poorly, I'm not going to be on again. I'm going to leave it to the women. So I will be sat in the background, maybe putting comments up, etc. But the girls are going to run it again. They did a fantastic job last weekend. Evie hosted it, Kaylee and Lucy. Danny's still on holiday. But yeah, if any females would like to get involved as well in that show, if you are watching and an avid Leeds fan and know your onions and want to get involved, then the more the merrier. You know what I mean? There's 3 at the minute or 4 when everyone's in, but when we could always have substitutes coming in if someone's not available. So yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, have you had a chance to watch the women's show, Andrea?
I want to say this especially, I love their enthusiasm, honestly, because I also see on the social, of course, we follow each other on social media. With them, I always see after every show that they are very enthusiastic. Also, they try to spread, because they really want to, of course, to share their opinions, and it's really good. And of course, there's also another thing, because it's not easy in this space, to be fair, and I'm really glad that they're doing so well, honestly, because we know that for years there's been a stigma saying that football is a men's game. It's not. It is not, and they're proving it. Look at their opinions. Look what they are seeing, what they are saying. And it puts to bed all those people saying, football is only a men's game. And I'm very glad that they're doing so well and enjoying it while doing that.
We've had some,
and that's up to you for putting it together.
Yeah, we've had some lovely.
You deserve your flowers,
Yeah. We've had some lovely messages after, like some people say, like, my daughter likes football, but never could really enjoy watching it. Now she gets to watch it with me because she can listen to the girls' opinion. And listen, I have a daughter that loves football, plays football every weekend, is very good at it. And, the level nowadays of girls' football is insane. My daughter's 12 and I look at them and think, bloody hell, you would give lads games. Do you know what I mean? Like they are of a certain level now. There's a little lass who plays in the side. I swear to God, she's so tiny, but my God, she does flicks and tricks, and I'm like, what the fuck?
No, it's actually very similar, in a certain sense. Look at the effects that the women's Euros
100%.
have done, on the numbers of girls starting to play football in that specific competition. England beat Italy, by the way, with some help by the referee, but we won't say that, of course. But yeah, it's the same here, when women saw other women talking about football, like you said, it's also encourage other women that are really enjoying and are also very very knowledgeable to get involved too, and that's good. It's the same effect, of course, one on the pitch and the other one in the media space, but it's absolutely the same for me. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
Encourages people to be more involved,
Yeah, England
Need
women
to stop
Euros,
the Italian gestures,
But big up to Andrea. Thanks for coming in. Do you want to tell people about what
worries.
you've been doing with our man Lockie? I know he's pretty poorly at the moment. He can't speak, can he?
Yeah, like the Dutch commentator. I can't speak. I can't remember that. That was very good, But yeah, I've been very busy, like probably you have noticed, both here in Italy and with you all, yeah, me and Lucky have started a podcast. Like we are 3 episodes in, very different from what we usually do. So there's also talks about personal lives, more tactical stuff. Also, we like 2 weeks ago we also picked my fantasy football Italian team, so that it's also a bit of a mix, in a certain sense. But yeah, this week we won't be on because Lucky is poorly, so we decided to skip this week, and we'll be back next week. And yeah, you will see us too also on the final word, hopefully
soon,
this week, because we play on Saturday at 1:30. And yeah, hopefully on Sunday, because on Sunday I'll be at 4 p.m. There's the first game of the season, regular season, of my local basketball team in Serie A against Udine. So yeah, I will let you know. By the way, man, if I can, hopefully I can, because I really missed when I'm on and not on, because it's one of the things I enjoy the most in this.
We love having you on, mate. We love your opinions. We love you within the space, so make sure you can make it back. Andrea doesn't have a specific channel, Edge Turner. I mean, he should do. He should do, to be fair.
I don't have the time, unfortunately.
You're a busy guy, man. You're a busy guy. But yeah, listen.
I like more interacting with people, I like more when we share opinions. Not me on my own. I like to be on my own, I like more to be, to exchange opinions.
100%. No, and you're great at doing that. It's all love. Listen, folks, I'm going to be on Don Hassam's channel at 5 p.m. Panel show that we do every Wednesday. I'm looking forward to it because Liverpool have lost the last 2 games, so we can batter him now. Makes a change. And then the girls' show will be on at 7 o'clock as usual on a Wednesday. So make sure you tune into that. Then Thursday is always a good day because we get to go on Dan Potts' channel. We're going to cook the Spurs fans. And then I've got Sava on my channel, R5, for an opposition preview as well. So we're looking forward to that. I'm also getting tattoos tomorrow, tattoo day tomorrow. There may be one on my face that you might see. So you'll have to wait and see if I go through with it or not. We shall see. But yeah.
England World Cup winner 2026.
A picture, content creator cup like that across my face. But we'll be there. There we go. Fantastic. He says, Andrea Moises Keane is wasted at Fiorentina. He is a gun. He would kill at Leeds. Do you agree with that?
He will, but there's no chance he will stand for us, to be fair.
How's Kristovic getting on? Is he doing anything?
Very well at Atalanta, yeah, very well. But they're playing with him and Lukman now. But it would have been good, my point of view. I know I got, a lot of, like a charge from the Tacticos, in a certain sense.
A charge
from the Tacticos, when I talk about Kristovic. What I said is the way he moves, it was very similar in a certain sense to what Pirot does. So my point of view was sign Kristovic and sell Pirot. That's what I was saying, but it was probably too difficult to understand for some, in a certain sense,
I think we probably,
or maybe they wanted to switch my opinion in the way they wanted to read, in a certain sense.
We know how they do.
We know how they do.
We know how they do. But yeah, listen, folks, thanks for tuning in. I'll be on at 5 o'clock on Hassam's channel, and then we'll be back here at 7 for the ladies' show. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Andrea, for giving up your lunchtime, brother. And we will see you all soon. Bye-bye, folks.